Imagine waking up one day, trapped in a clear container, unable to escape. Well, for most of us that would seem quite scary if anything. However, for the homunculus Dwarf in the Flask, otherwise known as Father, this was the only life he had ever known. You know, it's kind of funny, I feel a lot of characters in this anime get discussed quite a bit, but I haven't really seen a video on Dwarf in the Flask's reasons for his doings. So today, I wanted to take an in-depth look inside Father's life. What purpose did he live for? How and why did he go about accomplishing his goals? What were his goals and why did he feel the need to sacrifice so much for them? And lastly, yet most importantly, was his definition of morality acceptable considering his circumstances and upbringing? In today's video, we take a deep dive into the world of Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood to take a look at this very intriguing antagonist. Now, in order to understand Father's purpose, we have to go back to his origins and find out where he came from. Although this is merely hinted at, it's safe to assume that Father was originally part of the existence within the gate. You see, the gate itself contains these black hands, one that resembles Father's quite strongly. Using the blood of number 23, otherwise known as Hohenheim, the alchemist of the King of Xerxes managed to contain a small portion of the knowledge and life that existed within the gate and put it into a flask. That is why Father is so knowledgeable about everything upon being born. But you see, the sad reality is that he is stuck in a flask and is unable to exist outside of that container. And it's for this very reason that he made it a goal to attain all power in order to never be limited to any container. You see, even after he broke out of the flask and attained the human form, it still felt to Father as if he was in a container. Hence, the body of that human being his container. After the destruction of Xerxes, Father decided to take up an inhabited place. He taught the small group of people that were alive there alchemy, and it was due to this that his name spread and he became known as the Philosopher of the East. And to make sure that his teachings could not be used against him, he placed himself underneath the ground of what later became Central Command, and somehow used himself as an intermediary against tectonic energy, so alchemists would end up using his energy that he obtained from the souls of Xerxes when they performed alchemy. Now, with this being said, Father's main goal was to repeat his actions at Xerxes to create another Philosopher's Stone, this time using everyone here at Central, by using an eclipse to perform the so-called perfect being. However, his true intentions were to be free of all the laws of the universe. Now, the philosophy behind this use of the eclipse is that the sun symbolizes a man and the moon symbolizes a woman, and when they meet, they become the perfect being, stated by Eduardo Elric. And that is well the philosophy of this anime, not applying to real life in any sense of the word, obviously. It's all fiction, boys! Funny cause sometimes we tend to forget that because of how well mixed some animes are from concepts in real life to fictional concepts. Okay, I'm getting carried away. Now jumping back in. This was his goal, to become the so-called perfect being. But you see, a step that is necessary in order to accomplish this, according to Father himself, is that he had to purge out all of the 7 cardinal sins. And that's how all the homunculi came about. In fact, the 7 cardinal sins that he purged actually originate in Christian theology, and they are as followed: pride, envy, gluttony, greed, lust, sloth, and wrath. The Dwarf in the Flask thought that if he got rid of these, he could attain a perfect form of being. However, this failed partially, and because of it, he used them to accomplish his real goal, to be free from all the laws of the universe. Now, when it comes to the question of why exactly did he want this, I mean, we already covered what his goals were, his purpose in life, and how he went about accomplishing them for the most part. However, what was his motive for all of this? In fact, why did he want more when he already attained so much? Well, you see, because of his upbringing being sealed away in a flask, he slowly grew this need to constantly free himself of things that he thought were binding him down, otherwise known as boundaries. In his mind, the only way he could possibly attain the so-called perfect being would be to completely free himself of all the laws of the universe and be bound by nothing. And that is why we see him go out because of his upbringing, trapped away in a flask. You see, back when he was in a flask, he was a much more polite, charismatic, and even somewhat sarcastic being. He, you could say, had a fun personality to him, full of emotions as Hohenheim noted, but this only lasted until he purged out the 7 cardinal sins, and I think it's his very reason of the dwarf in the flask seeing his dreams come to light, slowly and slowly, that bred his wicked and just raw evil personality. As he slowly broke free of these bounds that he perceived to be holding him, it was clear that he was also slowly becoming filled with a sense of emotion that he may have never felt before, and this emotion led him to become such a dark and evil person. Or perhaps it could even be argued that this is simply my perception of this, and he was indeed always evil, only he tricked Hohenheim and everyone else in order to achieve his goals. And now this brings me to my last question. Was his definition of morality acceptable considering his circumstances and upbringing? Well, to be honest, this answer isn't one we can have a view on without being biased, because while everyone's views on morality differ due to religion, culture, upbringing, etc. So I guess the best way we can look at this is, from a human standpoint, can any of us feel sympathy for the guy? Can any of us understand where he is coming from? I mean, the dude seems so sad at the end that, I'm not gonna lie, I almost felt pity for him, but then I remembered everything he did and nah, you know, I don't think his views on morality were correct whatsoever. Everything he did was just pure evil and just wrong. If he never introduced alchemy to Central, perhaps the Ishivalan War could have been avoided. So many deaths, all for his stupid goals. Within my views of morality, what he did was absolutely wrong, and in no way justifiable, no matter how bad his upbringing must have been. At the end of the day, The Dwarf in the Flask was a story that needed to be heard. Whether or not it is a good one, it is definitely a major contributor to this anime, and I felt like his views on life, his goals, and things that were overlooked about him needed a bit more light shed on them, so I made this video. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, make sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications if you're new, and well, I guess till then, alright, not till then, wait. Yeah, I guess till next time. Well, I mean, if I don't live, if I'm not alive, okay, never mind. Till then, see ya.